Welcome to the worst podcast I've ever heard, gang. And we are here with a special guest, Noah Iacono. Noah, say something.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, all right. And we are here with the regular crew, No Tweet Ryan, and we, the Peefco.
Hello.
Pico?
I'm late.
Hello.
I'm off my game, but I'm
really
here.
Late. But you know what? That's fine. And we're going to jump right into it because we have tons to talk about. At least half of this podcast, I would assume, based on the notes I have written down. I didn't actually write it down. It's going to be mostly about AEW.
Heck
because,
yeah.
Yeah, well, you like that. But the press conference, the long-anticipated press conference was, 2 days ago now as we record? And lots of things came out of that. First of all, before we dip into the details of what they announced there at the press conference, what were your guys' initial impression of the overall feel of it and presentation, just overall thoughts on the press conference?
I'll go ahead and start out because I think everyone else is going to have a different point of view. I thought the crowd was really dead, and that killed my vibe completely. I know, like, some people were out posting online. They're like, "Oh, like this gives me chills," and everything like that. I've got all the respect in the world for people who gave chills to, but when I saw it, I was like, "Oh no!" Like, it was a huge buzzkill for me. And I get it's a Tuesday night, Tuesday afternoon, whatever. But man, like, you know how many people took off for All In weekend? All right, one call, but. You know how many people like took off work for things like that? Like, I took off 4 days for that, and you know, if someone's really invested in the product, I would think people in that area would probably at least take off, you know, a day of work for it. But I don't know.
Well, really quick, because I might have a kind of a negative opinion here, and I don't want to come off like I'm bashing it, but and I told you guys this before in private. It kind of came off very WCW-esque, where it was just big budget but felt low rent. And I hate to say that. That's not really a knock on any of the guys there. I love them all, but it's just, I don't know. It's like when WCW threw all that money into their production and into the talent, and they just kind of hot-shotted it, meaning like they just put it all together really quick. There was no, like, there's not going to be any trying times really for this promotion. They're going to start out with most likely a TV deal and big contracts and big stars. There's no growth period. It's not like the humble days of ECW and see what that turned into. There's not going to be any.
There's not going to be any dogs barking.
Well, that either. There's not going to be any humble beginnings because they're starting off with a billionaire funding it, and I don't know. It sort of loses that, but I just couldn't help but feel like it was kind of tacky in a way too. All the pyro during the day and.
Yeah.
And some of what they were saying was kind of corny. It felt very WCW-esque, but what did you guys think?
Well, my only problems with it was you could tell that the crowd wasn't mic'd up really well. Immediately, I could tell that off the bat. And then there was a few times when the camera that was on the people that were talking, it was a little shaky and it bothered the heck out of me. And after I saw it once, I couldn't see it again. But honestly, from the fireworks to the music to the way it was all worked out, I was marking out like bananas, obviously, because I'm all in on AEW. But honestly, I think what was cool about it was the fact that it was a rally for Jacksonville, but it didn't feel like that for people who are watching at home. They kind of had a little bit of both sides, and they were able to kind of, make it feel like it was an everyone thing, not just for the people of Jacksonville, not just for the people that are watching at home. So it was kind of like a mix of both, and I think they did a good job on that. I popped for the fireworks. When Jericho came out, I was, marking out just because I figured he was going to be there. But when he came out, I was not expecting it, so that was cool. So
way to spoil it. We were going to get to that. But
yeah, well, I'm just saying what I'm feeling right now. Okay, that's all I got. Noah, what do you think?
I really enjoyed it. I think the overall atmosphere of it was cool. I could definitely see people saying oh, the crowd didn't sound too into it or loud or whatever. And I definitely get that. And I also see well, it's a Tuesday night and stuff like that. So I could see everyone's point of view on that. But when it came to the overall, just it feels like they kept saying this is the official start of AEW. I was I can see that. I could see them going back and talking about that one time where we had the press conference and it was the big kickoff. And I overall just really enjoyed it. And I took more positives than negatives out of it. And with obviously, like, we'll talk about it, but like not to get into like who came out and whatnot, but just some of the guys who came out were some like surprises, and like some of the stuff was like, whatever, like you didn't need Cody and the Young Bucks coming out 4 times, to over and over and over again, like to keep making announcements different times. It just came out once, but that's like nitpicking it for me. But like for the overall like first impression and just like the atmosphere of it, like I enjoyed it. Like I thought it was cool.
Well, the surprises there were. We had Pac, FKA Neville, coming in full gimmick and getup, confronting Hangman Page. I guess that'll be one of the first feuds of the company. What'd you guys think about
For
Pac?
the title.
Yeah, and I guess he signed a contract. Oh, for the title, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Hangman Page said he wants to be the first champ.
Oh,
So did Neville, or so did Pac.
The thing that I would really like to point out is why did Pac show up to a work press conference in a Speedo, some boots, that's about it. Like, I get the dude shredded. I mean, if I was as shredded as him, I would consider it. I would honestly consider going to the grocery store wearing that. But come on, man. Like, that was the weirdest thing. Everyone's there in a suit. Like, the Bucks are there. They weren't in a suit, but, like, I mean, they played the part really well. Everyone's looking the part, and then he just walks out. It's like, number one, you weren't even supposed to be here. Number two, how did you get here just wearing a Speedo? What is going on?
He only shows up in gimmick. That's the only way he shows up.
I think that's
The
awesome.
airport and everything, just walking around. Like,
Dude, that'd be so cool.
Yeah, he wrestled overseas like the night before. He literally walked across the ocean because he's Pac, and then he showed up. He just said, "I'm coming."
didn't even get dressed.
He said, "I'm not even getting dressed." He left that match, said he had to catch a flight. He said, "I'm not even getting dressed. Let's just go." Got there 5 minutes before.
That's a hell of a get for AEW. Obviously, it goes without saying. They also announced All In 2 Double or Nothing taking place May 25th.
Hold on.
For Memorial Day and at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Get your tickets whenever.
I got two things.
whenever.
I got two things to
Sound like
say.
like All In 2?
On that note, okay, so first off, technically, it's not All In 2. It's Double or
I
Nothing.
knew he was going to say that.
Oh, God.
Is there going to be an
It's
All In 2?
2, motherfucker.
They'll
Is
announce All In 2 officially like that weekend for September or something like that, probably.
Yeah,
I
Triple or
have
Nothing.
that theory. That theory is coming later. But okay, so the other thing is,
Oh.
back in November, I said that Memorial Day weekend they're going to run Double or Nothing in Las Vegas, and I would like to put that on record because I was right, and I just needed to say that. So I continue.
Well, I know a few people who are going to that, so that's cool. MGM Grand, that's a hell of a place to have it.
Very
and again,
expensive.
I don't know how to pronounce the dude's last name. I don't know, Khan or Can, but the president of AEW,
It's
the thing
Khan.
is, okay, Khan, like from King of the Hill. So he has his connections, which doesn't surprise me that they made it to MGM Grand and they've got all this money. So that's probably a sign of things to come. I even read, we'll get into the last surprise, but their biggest signee said that there is apparently 2 TV deals on the table, one of them being a big network. So what I'm saying is this guy can really get them anything that they really want. Talent, buildings, TV deals, you name it. But, yeah, they announced the biggest get. Chris Jericho signed with the promotion. I guess 3 years is what I heard. What did you guys think about Jericho signing with AEW?
My thing is this. Jericho could really go anywhere he wants. So I do think it's cool that he is going to AEW. But I feel like the part of me is just thinking Jericho is doing this. Now, I like Jericho, don't get me wrong. But I also am like, are you doing this just so later on you can be like, listen, I started this thing?
Yes.
Like, he's going to take credit for it?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know.
But
like,
you also have to have, not to cut you off, but you also have to have like that one legend, one big name, like how ECW had Terry Funk, and to get the young guys over. So I think Jericho will be kind of their Terry Funk.
I think Jericho, what happened was he got a taste of hanging with the cool kids again, and he was like, I like this. I'm gonna go try this, and I'm gonna follow them and do what they do. I feel like that's kind of like. I feel like that's what I got the sense from, because obviously, like, for years he said he would only work for Vince and he would only sign with WWE, and now, like you said, to kind of see him go with this new thing, like, it's a big deal on that note. But I mean, I don't know, it's it'd be interesting. It'd be fun to see. So, I'm excited because it's a big name for AEW. Anything that's big name, for AEW, I'm all about.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to like benefit him in a huge way, obviously, because he's Chris Jericho. And in his point of view, I mean, why wouldn't you like go sign with him? You've been to WWE, you know what that talent pool is like. Obviously, there's always new guys coming in and out that you could work with, but like you know how the WWE system works. So if you're him, you already made your money, like he said at the press conference. Like, why not go to AEW? And if it works out, great. And if it doesn't, who cares? You're still Chris Jericho. Like Mike said, like you got a taste of what it's like, being elsewhere, and he probably liked it. And he really started a whole new era of his career, outside of WWE. So in his point of view, he's probably like, this is going to keep me going. And if it flops, it flops. If not, I'm still Chris Jericho. So who cares?
Yeah, and WWE wasn't too pleased with Jericho signing. They took him right out of their forever now intro or whatever. Then
you hate to see it.
It's going to be blackballed.
Yeah.
Did they really? I didn't even notice that.
He's going to get CM Punk'd out of WWE.
And they moved
him.
It. I don't know why they had him on the main roster. I don't know, but they put him on the alumni section the day he signed.
Yeah, he's been sitting on the SmackDown roster page for like 2 years, ever since they moved him for like a week.
That's ridiculous.
Never moved. Like he was always just there.
Sort of like the ex, hoping like she comes back, kind of thing. But but it's also funny to note. Apparently, Dave Meltz said that press conference being right down the street from SmackDown in Jacksonville, Florida, was a coincidence, which is really hard to believe, but I guess that's the truth. But I guess some AEW fans with their merch flocked over to SmackDown, and security was told by WWE management, I guess, to kick anyone out who's wearing that shit. And that they did. What did you guys think about those fans getting kicked out?
I don't understand that at all. Did they kick people out in the 90s when people were showing up with NWO shirts? I mean, that's a legitimate question. I don't know, but like, you're not going to stop anything. Like, you're not coming into our show with that shirt. All right, that's just going to push people away even more. Like, you can't stop something from growing. You just got to see what happens, and if it's ends up being competition, then fight for your part. But yeah, I thought that was stupid.
Especially now with the internet, like you can't get away with anything now. Like if
Exactly.
they like, I could see like back in the Attitude Era, like if they said you have to change or here's a free shirt or whatever. But now you're gonna hear about that like in a second. So you gotta watch what you're doing with that.
Yeah, I think that they had to have known that this was going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, even when WWE did that, like how you're saying you can't get away with it or whatever, they had to have known in the back of their head that this was going to get publicized. So if anything, they're probably just hoping people in general don't wear that stuff to future shows when it gets public or goes out further. And, Vince, you would think that he would kind of get excited for this just due to the fact where it's like, man, TNA or Impact died. And ROH... I don't think anyone has ever really considered ROH to be a threat to WWE as taking them out. So it's like, if anything, this is going to be something where Vince is like, all right, like another challenge. And I feel like no matter how old he is or Triple H or any of those guys, they're not going to get pissed off at a second promotion. If anything, they're going to be like, all right, another reason for us to step up our game. But that was the reason why I really just didn't like it, is instead of getting motivated from it, like, all right, let's go put on a killer show, they were like just trying to avoid everything. Rather than confronting the problem up front, they just kind of avoided it.
Well, they get mad really easily. I mean, what they did with Jericho and kicking those fans out, and they had that press conference literally down the street from them. I'd be pissed too. I got to give it to them on that. I'd be pissed too, and I'd probably be petty and kick him out of the intro as well. But
didn't they end up letting people back in at like anyway? Like at first they were kicking people out, and then they just said screw it or something like that. I feel like I saw that somewhere on Twitter.
Yeah, but here's the problem: once you get that ticket scanned, it doesn't work again.
That's true. Didn't one guy get a New Day shirt?
I think they did it before they entered. Like if they saw you before you entered, they were like, all right, like how they do security first and then you scan your ticket. I feel it was like that. But like my one thing was, so the two of the Pro Wrestling Tees workers that were there, they had the jackets, and that logo is tiny. So the fact that they got yelled at for having that little tiny logo on the front of their jackets, like that's crazy to me.
Again, they were mad.
You wouldn't have been able to pick that out on TV even if you had a freaking microscope. Like that is, I don't know.
Well, it shows just how angry they were. But
You hate to see it.
But AEW, they got these exclusive contracts that are pretty interesting. I think Cody rather, he said that his contract, I know he's an executive, but it is longer than any WWE contract he's ever signed, and the standard contract over there is 3 years. So this has got to be like a 5, 6, 7 year deal, probably.
So on Being the Elite, Matt Jackson said this is going to be like a crazy 5 years or whatever. So it's to me that I took that as this is a 5 for the executives at least. For the executives, it's at least 5 years. I think obviously Chris Jericho's 3, and then I know Uncle Dave was talking about different different things in each contract. Like how Jericho could work New Japan or, whatever. So, I feel like it's different for each person, and it's kind of it works different for each person, essentially. Speaking of contracts, I don't know if this is where we're going to go with this next thing, but I do want to mention the end of Being the Elite. Did you guys watch the end of Being the Elite this week?
Yes.
Unfortunately, I did not.
I did not see it.
Okay, well, spoiler alert for those who did not watch it. Basically, it did the little thing where they had the end screen where they're doing the DX chop whatever as the drone is going up, and then it stops, and then there's a shot of Tokyo, and then the camera's walking all the way up past the Tokyo Dome, and then it goes to a bush, and it goes down, and there's a phone just in the grass, and it's doing the ticking noise.
What was her name? Oh,
and it's doing the ticking noise, and basically a few minutes before that, when Kenny was when the whole group was talking to Marty, and Marty was like, wait a minute, you guys are leaving? And then Kenny was like, I lost my phone, I gotta go. So basically that phone is Kenny Omega's, and it was doing the ticking thing, which means confirmed that Kenny Omega is signing with AEW. So
you're such a mark.
I'm telling you that's what that means, Luke. I'm telling you.
It probably does mean that.
And there's no okay, his contract isn't up until after the Rumble, so there's no chance he's going to be in the Rumble. And he can't sign with anybody until after his contract is up at the end of January. So that means that they're going to technically announce Kenny Omega's signing through Being the Elite. And you could do so many different things with that. And that's one of those things where they kind of hint at it without telling you, and you got to put the puzzle pieces together, because they did that with a bunch of other stuff. They did that with All In. They did that with the ticking of the things for SCU and for them. So it's just another one of those puzzle pieces that you got to put in place and figure out yourself. So it's all but confirmed. So for those people who think that Kenny Omega is going to be in the Rumble, sorry to break it to you, he's not going to be in the Rumble.
Yeah, and people were pretty disappointed when he wasn't announced at the press conference as a signee, but obviously he couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's showing up in WWE. I think he's all in on All Elite Wrestling, just like Chris Jericho said.
Going to change the universe.
He's going to change the universe.
He had to get that in. He had to get that in.
And he was at a Fozzy concert. That's why he was acting. He's like, yeah, give me hell, yeah!
He wanted to poke.
Did he say change the universe since WWE's the WWE universe?
Exactly.
Hint, wink, wink.
And then let's talk about the fact that nobody knew the Fozzy song. When as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, that's Jericho. But then the crowd was like, what? And then they waited until he came to react, and I thought that was hilarious.
I could tell it sounded like Jericho's voice, and that's why I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, so that was cool. It was a fun press conference all around.
I'm sorry.
This is really off topic, but I just wanted to say Bandito and Flip Gordon are going to be having a match.
Oh, we are Banditos.
Amazing.
So,
that's my new favorite wrestler.
That's it.
My new favorite wrestler, Bandito.
Oh, no one else enjoying that? All right.
Dude, that's my new favorite wrestler, Bandito.
I don't know too much about Bandito.
I'll butt in and say, and I know Luke saw this on Twitter. What do you guys think about Nick Gage versus Scott Steiner at some random company in New York?
Luke and I were talking about this. This is a death wish for Scott Steiner.
I just saw it before I came on here, and I was waiting to say it because I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Hey, speaking of shitty wrestling,
you don't like Nick Gage? Come on.
I don't like the bank robber. No. But
I have a funny story about Nick Gage, but you can go first.
Let's hear it.
No, it's not even that detailed. So my street's like a dead end street, so I was pulling out one day, and there's apartments next to. Hilarious. There's apartments next to the street that I live on, and there's a bus stop right there. And I was pulling out, and Nick Gage was standing at the bus stop.
No way.
And I assumed he was there because the Game Changer wrestling school is like 5 minutes from me. So he was probably there, and then went to catch the bus.
That's amazing.
I was like, is that Nick Gage? I double taked at him. I was like, that's the Game Changer World Champion.
You know what's really funny was Jim Cornette was reviewing his match with David Arquette.
Oh, God.
No, it was hilarious because, I mean, even if you don't like Jim Cornette, it was hilarious. He kept calling Nick Gage the bank robber throughout the whole thing. So he goes, the fucking bank robber gets the flashbulb, and he hits David Arquette with it.
Flashbulb.
He just kept calling him the fucking bank robber.
Oh, God, Nick Gage.
Yeah, he's something else. But yeah, speaking of shitty wrestling, what made the big
signs with All Elite?
Oh God! What's really making the headlines in the indie wrestling world is the bloody tampon spot.
Oh God!
Now, okay, I personally think that wasn't legitimate, so I wasn't that grossed out about it. I mean, it was really bad taste, obviously, and literal taste for that lady. But so she, for those who don't know, this broad, I don't know what her name was, Priscilla something, rather. She was on an independent show wrestling this other girl. And for one of her moves, she put her hand down her trunks, her tights, and she pulled out a bloody tampon out of her puss, and she shoved it into her opponent's mouth. So...
Excellent.
That pretty much summed it up perfectly.
But the way that lady took the tampon in her mouth, I was like, that ain't real. She would have been... She didn't have a grossed out look on her face or anything. It looked like ketchup or something.
It's a work, brother. HH.
Yeah, but it's still gross.
Okay, so
People were flipping out about it. I was like, it's not that big of a deal. We've seen grosser, right?
So I just listened to...
Oh, no, hey, I want to hear what you think about it.
I was gonna say I just listened to like an hour-long podcast about it from these.
Oh, did you?
These like they're gaming YouTubers. The channel's called Funhouse, but the person that I was caring about.
No, we are the only wrestling podcast.
Okay, so it's not a wrestling podcast. It's like a whatever podcast.
Noah's.
And there was the one YouTuber Uber Hector Nova, and they were talking about this, and basically they were saying like it's no different from kind of the stuff that like Joey Ryan like does. So
This is a little different.
Well, yeah, obviously, but like...
I mean, he does the lollipop on his pubes and whatnot, but this...
That was like a 21-plus show, or whatever it was, and like in the area, like it kind of makes... I don't know, well, who cares? It's wrestling. What the heck? Like crazy stuff like this happens all the time.
That's not wrestling. I'm sorry.
Well, it's a thing that happened. Whatever, get over it.
People were flipping out, but I wasn't really phased. I've seen a lot of deathmatch wrestling where they've used dildos, and so at this point, I'm just like, yeah, nothing surprises me.
Well, I wasn't surprised, but I'm like, well, that's just another fucking thing.
I was like, everyone's losing their mind.
I'm in the same boat as Noah in this, just because I'm kind of the same way. Like, I had a big CZW phase, I guess is the best way to put it, and like I still watch it to this day. Like yesterday, I was watching Tournament of Death from this last year, and I'm like just sitting there, and I'm kind of trying to think to myself, I'm like, man, these are like literal light tubes being smashed over heads, and I'm just sitting here, and my heart rate isn't changing one bit. I'm just chilling here like, oh, well, that's a hell of a light tube.
We had a light tube match yesterday.
So, like, yeah, pretty much in the middle of Walmart. But anyways, I was watching, and like I saw the clip, and that was just, as weirdly as it sounds, I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting, but all right. Like, I
desensitized.
Yeah.
It was a way to cause controversy, and it made everybody react in different ways. And I mean, it's I don't know, like it's I don't see it as
it
like
was
a huge
art,
deal.
man. It was fun. We're expressing ourselves with our pure.
Oh my god!
No, well, enough about our bloody puss.
Well, I mean, like, I didn't really like the Joey Ryan all-in thing when he came out with the inflatable penises. Like, I would have much rather had the tampon spot than that.
No, I would have taken
that was an
the
electric moment.
Inflatables.
Yeah,
That was electric.
To be honest, one isn't
ultra
over the other.
violence, all right, guys. Come on.
Electric.
Deathmatch wrestling.
Next, there's going to be like a cum rag in someone's mouth or whatever.
On the podcast, they were talking
somewhere.
about. I think it was they said the best friend tag team. So I'm assuming that's Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, where they kind of like pretended like it was. I don't know. I need to look this up now because they talked about it.
Let's not look it up. Okay.
Continue. Next topic.
Let's get off this. So we failed to mention Wrestle Kingdom. We recorded hours beforehand.
Oh, true.
What'd you guys think? I don't want to do a complete breakdown because we'll be here all night. But what'd you guys think about the show overall? Cool. I'll start.
For those of you who actually watched it,
Ospreay and Ibushi was insane as expected. That was definitely my second favorite match of the night, next to the main event, obviously. And Jericho and Naito was pretty insane. Got the DDT on the paper. Naito.
Yikes.
So those three were my favorite matches of the night, and I had a fun time watching.
I need to rewatch it. I haven't gotten a chance to rewatch it because I feel like as I was watching it live, I was obviously paying attention, but like I was starting to get tired in the main event, and like I didn't like take a nap all day, so that kind of screwed me up. So I was kind of like running on fumes, and it was kind of hard to pay attention, and I really liked the main event. The main event has to be my favorite match, but I really want to rewatch like the main matches, and then after that, then I'll be able to like determine which one is my match like of the year. But I don't know. I mean, it's a fun show as always. So
of the year?
Yeah, of the year.
January 10th.
There's always.
You're not going to give anyone a chance. You're like, well, the match of the year is on that card somewhere.
Hey, the Nakamura versus AJ match. Nakamura versus AJ from Wrestle Kingdom. That was my match of the year, and nothing beat it that entire year for me.
Beat this.
Oh.
No,
what do you think about Wrestle Kingdom?
Well used. I like it.
So, no, was this like one of your first Wrestle Kingdoms that you watched live?
This is the second Wrestle Kingdom. I watched last year's, and I've watched probably 4 New Japan shows within the last year. But like, I don't know everybody on this card, obviously, but I wanted to watch it. It's Wrestle Kingdom. It's obviously a huge thing. I enjoyed the show greatly. I mean, there wasn't really anything I was like not into. Like Ibushi and Ospreay was insane. The main event was insane. Jericho and Naito's match was awesome. I really loved it. Yeah, I overall enjoyed the show. I was dozing off a little bit during the Kenny Omega main event just because I didn't sleep much at all, but it was worth it.
So would you say
2 a.m. Eastern?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's better, watching it live or watching it when you wake up?
Oh, I would much rather just watch it live. It's no fun. Like, you get to be on Twitter with everyone marking out when it's live. Like, I don't want to watch it by myself.
I agree.
At 8 a.m. or whatever.
I agree. That's the best thing about Wrestle Kingdom. Every year I look forward to it.
I was contemplating not waking up and just going to bed, but I was like, if I don't wake up and just try to watch the show tomorrow, I'm not going to watch the show at all. So I was just like, let me do this now.
I never actually ended up watching it because I had work at 8 a.m.
Oh,
which
is it working?
You didn't take off. It's okay. I mean,
Okay, I put in, and they said this weekend was not a good weekend, and I forgot take off.
I forgot
I
you were
was supposed to watch it with Mike and Tommy, and I couldn't.
I forgot about that. That was my bad.
See, I would have made it happen.
Oh, well, I told you to fly here.
Why don't you go to Mania and Double or Nothing there?
Oh.
I'm not doing that.
Well, neither. I can't go to. I'm not going to Double or Nothing. I'm officially taking my name out of the hat for Vegas.
Yeah, I got Double or Nothing for you. So let's bring it across the pond here.
Oh.
And bring it back to something just as exciting. Hulk Hogan. No, I'm kidding. Hogan did return to WWE TV this past week to honor Mean Gene Okerlund. I almost called him Mean the Gene. It was actually really, really well done, and Hogan got a pretty big pop, and I don't think he got booed at all. And I thought he did a great job, great video package that he threw to, and I think it was. Ryan Satin was not too happy about it. I think it was obviously an excuse to bring him back. There's no doubt about that. But what do you think?
I think it was so good that the... No, go ahead, Ryan.
No, you already started.
No, I was going to meme and say that the Hawks lost to the Flames 4-3, so I was kind of mad about that. I didn't watch Raw. I haven't watched Raw or SmackDown in like 3 weeks. So, and
well,
plus,
you are aware that he came back, though, right?
I heard it, and I saw he was wearing a T-shirt that said like something about Mean Gene, and it was like his regular shirt or whatever. I couldn't care less. Someone else continue.
Anyways, I like everyone talks about Meltzer this, Meltzer that. That's how Ryan Satin is for me. Like I'll believe any of this guy's word, and I listened to his podcast earlier this week, and he worded it best because, like, even when he was saying, oh man, I gotta do an in-text citation like Comclass from Wrestling Sheet Radio. What was the date? January something episode. Anyways, he said something about how it was like, hey, here's Hulk Hogan. This is how we're gonna find a way for you to not boo him. Like, this is gonna be the way where you can't boo Hulk Hogan coming out for Mean Gene, and you can't even count Saudi Arabia as really a return because they didn't make any mention of it. So this is going to be our way of bringing him back and then just promoting the hell out of him, like, just by that. And it's so backhanded, to be honest.
Yeah, it was definitely a big time excuse to bring him back. Honestly, like, I mean, I don't know if I have the right to say this, but I really don't care what Hogan did all them years ago, because it's just like, it doesn't involve me. So like I said, I don't really have the right to say that. So if other people don't want him to come back, like, I respect it. But like, yeah, WWE did use it, no doubt, as an excuse. Like, hey, we can finally bring Hulk Hogan back. That is not the case. But yeah, they definitely just used it as a big time excuse to be like, hey, we love Hulk Hogan, but you guys don't right now. But you aren't gonna boo him because Mean Gene just passed away. So here's Hulk Hogan for you. But
you know what's, you didn't say. I said something just as bad as what you said. Well, you didn't say anything bad there, but I said something bad where I was like, "Hey, you guys forgive him for what he said." It's like, we're in no fucking position to forgive him for dropping the N-bomb. Like, what the fuck?
Oh my god! But no, because people will be online like, "Oh my god, Hulk Hogan, he can't come back," and I'm just like, dude, I don't even care what he did, what anybody did, like, whether he shows up or not. My day's going on the same, so like, I really don't. You want to bring Hulk Hogan back? Go ahead. But like I said, you know, who am I to talk? Let's get somebody in here who has the right to talk, and then we'll start.
Yeah, exactly. Because like, for us, we're so easy to forgive. Like, yeah, you're fine. But like, none of us were in any position to be like, yep, he's forgiven. Like, what?
Yeah, we have no right.
Like, oh, it's fine.
Oh, speaking of, well, I guess we'll stay on the topic of WWE for a second. Dude, this popped me huge during that tag match with involving Rey Mysterio and Andrade Almas. Jesus Christ. I was so surprised. They did a Canadian Destroyer in the middle of the ring. That had to have been the first pile driver in WWE since, like, at least over a decade.
Since Punk and Cena, I think.
I mean, well, not counting Undertaker's tombstone, but since Punk and Cena, was that the Money in the Bank?
February 2012.
Oh, Christ.
13. 2013. This guy over here.
Close enough, man. You know, we're good. It's a touchy subject. You know, CM Punk, like, it's getting close to that time. It's the 4-year anniversary pretty soon. Like, it's a crazy time for, you know, the only Punk fan that's left. Anyway,
yeah. So it was Ray and Mustafa versus Almas and Samoa Joe. It was a hell of a tag match, but dude, the first ever Canadian Destroyer in WWE. I've had to watch it at least a trillion times. I was blown away. What did you guys think about that? Cool.
I mean, everybody knows Rey Mysterio is my favorite ever. So anytime him and Almas is one of my favorite guys right now. So anytime him and Almas are mixing it up, I was glued to the TV. I thought it was awesome. When they pulled that out, I was like, okay, let's book the WrestleMania match right now.
Right.
Because they had a match on SmackDown like 2 months ago. Nobody probably even, you know, remembers about it. But then they mixed it up in the tag match, and were just so smooth and just killing it with everything they were doing. Then they pulled that out. I was like, if this doesn't make it on the Mania card, Ray ends up in something and almost gets thrown in the Battle Royal, that'll be a shame, because they can put on an absolute, you know, classic opener or something like that at Mania. I know it's kind of like side to what actually happened in the match, but that was my thoughts going on.
Well, they're great.
My thing too is I am a huge Mustafa Ali fan, just because I've been riding with that dude since he was on the Indies. So, like, seeing him in this position already gets me hyped when he comes out. I'm like, all right, let's go. So, on top of it, and I'm an Almas fan, so it just was like, it was the perfect match for me. And I was like, man, SmackDown in itself is just killing it in comparison to Raw, giving these guys these opportunities and stuff. Like, man, that.
And I almost got the win, so it was even better.
Yeah.
So, like, a big win for him.
Does this mean that Sting can use the package pile driver?
Oh God, no, that's way too dangerous. But what I think I was griping about this not too long ago about how I wanted the cruiserweight so bad to mix up with the the main roster. And I know they've been doing that with Mustafa Ali for the past few weeks, but we really do need more of that because he's a perfect example of what could happen if you use them sparingly. I'm not talking about a little segment on Raw and turn the lights purple and go, hey, here's the cruiserweights.
Yeah.
Just mixing it up with the main roster. That's the way it works, man. Like it should be that way. We should get more cruiserweights to come up and mix up with guys like that because that's how they shine. Mustafa is shining like crazy now, working with guys like Mysterio.
It doesn't have to be, call-ups or move it over to SmackDown or whatever. It could just be, hey, Buddy Murphy's on SmackDown tonight. He's facing AJ Styles. It's a one-off match, and that's it.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm pretty sure that these 205 Live guys get main card money. And not NXT developmental. I'm pretty sure when they get signed on, that's the pay that they're getting put onto. So, I mean, if you're going to have these guys, and if you want them to be credible, that's what you kind of have to do, and that's what makes sense.
Make them worth it.
Well, perfect segue. If you quickly want to talk about the, isn't there going to be like some kind of tournament? That's at like the Rumble or something, some show?
It's just an access tournament.
Oh, yeah, access.
Well, I saw that and you mentioned
it's about an access tournament.
I don't pay attention. I saw the headline and I was like, okay, cool. Oh, yeah, Rumble Access. Well, you know what?
It said somebody's getting a title shot of their choosing whoever wins, so that's, I guess, the intriguing part of it.
You might get some good matches out of that. You never know. There's someone recorded on their phone or something like that.
You can record this on your phone.
It's 2019. It'll be somewhere.
Yeah.
So we'll have the whole tournament in HD on YouTube the next day.
And no one will watch, but hey, Punk to throw Pico to throw it back to your neck of the woods. The Punk Cabana lawsuit is still very much a thing. I read that Punk he filed a motion to dismiss the lawsuit. He's like, "Go away, you fuck!" And Cabana's not backing down. He wants his $200,000, and he wants it yesterday. What do you think? Are you going to go down to Cook County Court and help
my
him sort
fucking
it out?
money.
Oh, yeah. It's my money. I want it now. J.G. Wentworth.
You want my money?
Pico, are you going to fucking say something about it? Or are you going to mute your mic? He muted his mic.
I was just about to say, I think he muted it.
Well.
I think he's so hurt by the incidents that his two favorite guys.
No, he ran down to the courthouse right now, as a matter of fact.
He heard Cook County, and he was putting it in his
said, "I'll pay
GPS.
it
He was
for him."
gone. But here's my honest opinion about the situation, even though I'm not Pico.
Pico.
Cabana has every right. If what he's saying is true, he has every right. Like, what the hell? That's $200,000. I don't care how much money he has or anything. That's gonna put a dent in his pocket. I mean,
true.
Come on. And if what Punk said is true, that he actually, hey, I'll cover this. Like, dude, don't do this. Like, I hate it when people use lingo, but fake friend.
Fake? Yeah, but I don't know. It's like, it's one of those things. It's like, it's not outside. It is outside of wrestling. So it's like, take the wrestling aspect out of it, and you just kind of get real life stuff. And it's just like, you wouldn't do that to like your buddy. You're just like, hey, and
I would do it to Luke, but probably not anyone else.
Well, I can't speak for you there, but Pico's back, I think.
I'm back, sorry.
2 cents.
You missed the whole conversation. But anyway, this is coming from a guy who, if you watch Hornswoggle's shoot interview, he was talking about how Punk pretty much disowned him after Hornswoggle asked him for a phone number. That this guy happened to be a celebrity or whatever, and Hornswoggle was asking him for his phone number because he had lost it, and Punk thought he was using him, and they haven't talked since.
Did you have a whole conversation about Punk without me?
They were they were best friends, and like he just cut it off because of that very reason. So this doesn't really surprise me that they're not friends anymore over this whole lawsuit business. But
I mean, Punk just doesn't seem like that great of a friend in any way around.
Person.
Well, no, you got to give him this. Remember, he bought Joey Mercury's house once, so that was nice of him.
Yeah, but like I get that, but how many people have stayed friends with Punk through the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, Cabana was his oldest friend in the wrestling business.
Yeah, is Mercury still his friend? I don't even know.
Maybe.
Somebody should
just so he can make payments for that house.
Yeah, he wants his money back for the house. Oh, that's fucked up.
All right, I was trying to be mean, but I'm just saying, like, man bought the house. Like, other than Joey Mercury, is anyone else friends with the guy?
AJ Lee.
Yeah, you gotta be.
His best friend.
His dog Larry.
Well, I would throw it to Pico, but we'd be on here for now. You want to hear something random?
Shoot.
For Jack Swagger's Bellator debut, he's gonna have R-Truth sing his theme song.
That's amazing. That's the best news I heard all week.
Like a live Mania performance, R-Truth is gonna be out there singing his friend to the Octagon.
What's he gonna sing?
It's going from no friends to best friends. Jesus, I mean.
It's not clear what he's gonna sing, but I really hope it's not the "What's Up" theme.
What's up?
He's gonna sing Jack Swagger's old theme song, like his first one, the Jack 1 2.
I said step 1 2, but
whatever it's called.
I
don't even know, to be honest. I said Jack 1 2.
Oh, Jack.
Jack's gonna do some push-ups on his way to the ring.
Dude, whenever I hear that theme, I think of Breach.
Truth is gonna do the splits in the ring. Go Bellator. What's up?
Oh my god!
Instead of doing push-ups, Swagger's gonna do mock sprawls. Like just
Swagger shouldn't even get an
drop
entrance.
down.
They should just pull a Mania 29 on him. He'll just show up in the ring or an octagon, whatever.
Just do a Hogan entrance or an Andre and just get on the ring and just like write it down.
I'm here.
So random though.
That's amazing.
Well, that's all the news I got.
I feel like there was something I wanted to talk about, but there really isn't.
Let's give him something to talk about.
It's all that AEW hype.
Yeah, a lot of it was AEW, but
it's all right. That's good. We had news to actually talk about this.
Well, I got something to end on. Oh, I'm sorry, Noah. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, what do you guys think about Ronda and Sasha Banks at the Rumble? Since you wanted to bring something up, that was pretty random of WWE to do.
It's a big-time match that you can do in Mania season. I think it's perfectly appropriate. I mean, I'm keeping up with the storylines, really, but that's a big-time match.
I just thought of something. The Daniel Bryan promo from SmackDown. I watched that.
Yeah, that has everything to do with what we were just talking about.
I just thought about it now. And if I don't say it, I'm going to forget about it. That was awesome. And when he hit the hot dog when he took the hot dog out of his hand, the fries just flew at the screen perfectly. He couldn't have planned it better. Shout out to Daniel Bryan. He's the best.
I want to do that to you. I should have done that to you at the YWC cookout, throwing a hot dog at you.
Oh, okay. We'll see what happens.
Eat it, Pico.
I should have thrown that phone case charger that you stole from me.
Wait, then how would if I stole it, how would you throw it?
True.
When you asked to borrow it, instead of handing it to you, I would have thrown it to you.
This fucker's been trying to turn this around since September.
We can't
stole my phone charger.
We can't go one day without talking about All In.
I can air some dirty laundry here on the pod if you want.
I'm going to watch All In this week for the first time ever.
Hey! Why don't you keep All In out of your mouth for one fucking day?
Oh,
how's that sound?
Jeez.
Yeah.
Shooting on them.
Oh.
How do you like that?
Well,
how do you like me now?
This actually, this kind of time. Oh my god.
He's hulking up.
Okay, this kind of ties into
or something over there.
This kind of ties into wrestling and something Noah can appreciate. So this past week, Mr. Ryan over here, he gave me a little Christmas present, and I got the Cody, I got the Kenny, and I got the Young Bucks pop.
I also don't want to sound like an over-the-top friend. This was also repaying him for something that happened.
I was gonna say,
All In.
Covered me for something.
Free of charge.
All In.
I'll just say it. He got my ticket for All In.
All In. Yes.
I had a nosebleed, and he said, "You're sitting with us." So that's, and he could have made hundreds of dollars off that ticket. So,
yeah.
What a friend.
That's a call. But yeah, so I finally finished.
He might CM Punk and ask for his money back. We're taking this to court.
I mean, I really missed the Punk conversation. I would have been the opposite, I feel like.
Yeah, you would have gotten the joke, too, so go ahead.
What's the situation here? All In.
Well, anyway.
No, you brought it up. Might as well finish it. You said you're going to do something about All In. Are you going to put it on a Blu-ray and sell it, or what are you going to do?
What do you mean?
You said you're going to rewatch All In, or are you going to do something?
It's on the new... Why can't I hear myself? Okay,
Hello.
it's gone now. Okay, so it's on the New Japan network or New Japan World. So
New Japan Network.
I haven't watched it yet because I was waiting for it to get on DVD, and it never came on DVD. And then finally, I'm like, oh yeah, I have New Japan World this month, so I'm gonna watch the entire All In show from start to finish because I haven't watched it at all since being there live. So that
Wait a
should be
minute.
interesting.
Hold the phone. Do you think that AEW is going to release it under their kind of banner, like All In?
I
Have
think
the AEW logo all over the DVD and everything.
I think it'll just be the All
That'd
In
be
logo because
awesome.
that'll be different, like a different thing. Its own.
Still
thing.
waiting on that. Right?
I'm just waiting until this time next year when they put out All Elite Funko Pops.
True.
Oh, they can make it happen.
I
I'm
never
sure.
even thought of
No,
that.
dude, I'll be all over it. It'll be crazy.
You better believe they
It
have
was
that
like
started
that's
right
all
now.
I was thinking about.
You get a Jericho
Give me that.
one?
Give me that Joey Janela Funko Pop,
Oh,
Oh,
man.
You can do
bad
it.
boy jacket and all.
Wow,
I
I didn't
love
think about
this.
that. Let's get
I've-
that in motion.
Brady Livingston sign it.
What was I
No
gonna
one
say?
knew about it.
I forgot what I was gonna say. Anyway, All Elite Wrestling is the best.
Hey,
They haven't
really
even
quick.
had a show yet.
It doesn't matter.
Really quick though, this could be a game changer because we mentioned last week how I mentioned how it's just pretty much like another wrestling promotion, but with like really, the biggest stars outside of WWE. But what could be a game changer that I read is possible is that they might have health insurance for all the wrestlers, which is something that, to my understanding, has never been done in the history of pro wrestling.
So it seems like right now the executives have it for sure, and then
Oh yeah.
eventually, what I heard was the plan is eventually to get everybody health insurance.
Wait,
That's
WWE
crazy.
doesn't provide that?
No. Well, they pay
Wow,
for your.
I didn't know
they pay
that.
for. They'll pay for your surgery if you get hurt in their ring.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
But
That's
you have
it.
to
Well, that'd be
get your
pretty
own.
cool.
Yeah, you got to have your own health insurance because it's expensive. That's exactly why they don't do
Yeah.
it. Not that they can't afford it, but it's
Right. Yeah, I never knew that.
They just don't feel like
Learning
it.
something new every day.
Yeah. Well, they don't. They fucking cut Pyro out. You think they're going to give them health insurance?
Cheap fucks.
I don't know why they're being
They
so
went
cheap.
out of their way on purpose to go extra with the pyro at the rally.
Oh,
Yeah,
If
well,
you're
too
not gonna
much.
do it, we'll do it, you fucks.
Yeah, they almost
Well,
lit
it
everyone on
felt
fire.
that is when it really felt WCW.
Yeah.
They were just putting out the smoke and the little.
Well, they even had the fucking Nitro girls out there. I'm like, Jesus God, this is like
Yeah.
WCW all over
Did
again.
anyone think it was weird there was a house behind them?
I did not notice that.
That was a
I
house.
didn't even see.
I was so confused. I know
It
it's
was
like.
someone said it was the house that AJ Styles built.
Well, on that note,
They're doing it outside his house.
jeez.
Well, it was outside
AJ
SmackDown.
Styles signing with All Elite Wrestling? Question mark.
Oh Lord,
Never.
let's not
Never.
get into that.
Never.
Zack Ryder. That's who's going to be their first big
Really
signing.
makes
No,
you think.
He's still like he likes the moniker of being called a WWE superstar. He's not going to give that up.
Yeah,
Too much of a mark.
Got a podcast he's too busy with.
Yeah,
true.
reviewing toys and
That's a good
playing with
podcast.
dildos. I don't know
Oh
what he's
yeah,
doing.
guys, let's just shoot down my idea more. Wow.
All right.
What's your idea?
Sign Zack Ryder.
Well, your idea sucks.
Anyway.
Oh, you know what? Suck this.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, nice talk. Go Pops.
well, on that note, I got nothing else. We're gonna end it.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
all out.
I'm all out. Oh well. Speaking of all out, here I'm gonna
Oh, my.
I'm gonna say this. All out. September 1st or August 31st. Hoffman Estates Sears Center. I'm calling it
Dustin
now.
Hoffman Estates. Yeah, it'll
Labor
be
Day
there.
weekend. Okay, that's all.
Let me get it in Philly and then I'll go.
Wait,
There
just
you
kidding.
go.
Hold on, Noah. What's your Twitter? What's your YouTube?
My Twitter is @NoIacono_ and my YouTube is NoIacono.
Links will be down below.
Yep.
And for
Go
everyone
subscribe. I'm on the road to 1,000.
else, get them
Road
to
to
1,000.
1,000. It'll
Road
happen
to-
this year. Mark my
Hopefully.
Mark your what?
quite the optimist.
We'll see you guys next
Said
time.
mark my words.
Mark this.